Let's do it. I will work through in order, so we'll have a look at the Demon Hunter cards first. And we'll try and rate them. We'll try and give them a sort of 1 to 5 star rating, because people heckin' love stars. And you guys can weigh in with your thoughts as well on what you think of these cards. So do type your thoughts in the chat, and we'll see what we come up with. So here's the first card, Demon Hunter card. Prosecutor Meltranix, 4 mana, 2/6. Battle Cry, your opponent can only play their left and rightmost cards on their next turn. Wow. Now, that is an exciting card, in my opinion. You guys think it's unplayable? I really don't think this is an unplayable card. So let's think about this. When I see this card, I see Okani, Blademaster Okani. It's similar to that, right? Okani is a disruptive card. You put it out on the board. It's exactly the same stat line. Okani is like your opponent has to guess whether it's a spell or a minion. Sometimes it gets countered. It almost always messes up their turn. Now this messes up the turn in... I think this messes up the turn more than Okani, personally. Obviously, it's situational, a bit like Okani is. If your opponent happens to have a 0 mana minion or spell, then Okani does nothing. If your opponent has a 0 mana... or if your opponent has something on the left or right hand side of their hand, or they only have 2 cards, but something on the left or the right that they can play easily, then this doesn't do much. But imagine that you're playing against, say, a control deck, which would normally remove your big aggro board, and you drop this, and their removal cards aren't on the left or right. You may very well just win the game off of this, right? I think this is a very, very good disruption card. I think you could compare this almost to Lower Feb. Do you remember 5 mana Lower Feb? I think the amount of the impact that this has on your opponent's next turn, I think, is very similar to 5 mana Lower Feb. Personally, 5 mana Lower Feb, for those who don't remember, was a 5 mana 5/5. Which made your opponent's spells cost 5 more next turn. So spells costing 5 more basically unplayable, just as this card makes the middle cards in your opponent's hand unplayable. So very similar effect to Low-Feb. I think this is a... it's going to be a 4-star card, I think. I think this card is going to see a heck of a lot of play. Okani, I think, was probably a 3-star card, and I think this is better than Okani. I think it's more similar to Lower Feb. Like, if you can get ahead on the board and then drop this, I think it very often just ends the game. But let's see what people in chat think. So we've got, doesn't it depend on board control? You can always drop it. Yeah, you can always drop... I mean, a Low Feb, I guess, a 5 mana 5/5 is a better body than a 4 mana 2/6. That does have to be said. But this is 4 mana, so let's say that you're playing like an aggressive Demon Hunter. You get way ahead on the board and then you drop this on curve. I think quite often it ends the game, because aggro Demon Hunter has some real pumper cards. But yeah, I think this card is really good. I think it's going to be a 4-star card. One of the best cards of the set for me. Let's move on and look at the next card. So we have... This is the second Demon Hunter card. Sightless Magistrate. 4 mana 5/4. Battle Cry. Both players draw until they have 5 cards. Wow. Now that is another... That's a very, very, very powerful card. Cards I'm comparing this to would be... I don't know if you remember Jeeves. So Jeeves is a card which... when I was last playing Wild, Jeeves was still seeing playing Wild. And what Jeeves did was I think it was a 3 or 4 mana minion, which at the end of your turn, you would draw until you had 3 cards in hand. So really, really good in a deck that just dumps all of the cards and then refills at the end of a turn. Now, obviously, this is a mirrored effect, but like lots of decks at the moment are control decks, and there's lots of card draw in the game. So let's say again that you're playing an aggro demon hunter that runs out of cards. It's likely that this is only going to be drawing like 1 or 2, maybe even 0 cards for your opponent. An aggro demon hunter has absolutely no problem going down to 0 cards. So I think this is a phenomenally powerful card. Jeeves was in Mage. Yeah, it also saw a lot of playing aggro Druid. And yeah, Jeeves was a mirrored effect as well. Yeah, that is, now that I think about it, it was a mirrored effect. But yeah, I think this is super powerful. And again, just like the last card we looked at, I think it supports aggro Demon Hunter. So could aggro Demon Hunter be like playable now? Because it was kind of fringe before, right? It just needed a few more cards, and maybe the new Legendary and then Sightless Magistrate are the 2 cards that it needed. But so I would probably give this I'd probably give this like a 3-star rating, like, because I think it will definitely see play in aggro Demon Hunter, but I don't know if it is enough to make aggro Demon Hunter playable yet. Let's see what you guys in the chat think. So what about Brute DH? So interestingly, this is a battle cry, isn't it? So you get these cards immediately. So that is more powerful than Jeeves' effect. And yes, it would be an activator for Brutes. So the downside of running Brutes is obviously you can't dump a Brute before you play this. But imagine that you do manage to dump your hand, and then you play this, and then you draw the Brute. The Brute's going to be very cheap. It's good for. Feel like Brute deck will have a lot of cards in hand, possibly. Depends how you build it. But yeah, interesting card, powerful card. Demon Hunter seems to have a good set so far. Let's look at the final Demon Hunter card. All Fel breaks loose. It's a 5-mana Fel spell. So remember, Fel spells can be playable with Jace. They can be. There's Demon Hunter has lots of synergy with Fel spells. 5-mana Fel spell. Summon a friendly demon that died this game. Infuse 3 demons. Summon 3 instead. Oof. So what do we want to resurrect with this? Like. Because this is this a card that defines a new archetype? Because this is very powerful. You can repeat it with Jace as well. We need to have a look at what demons we can play. So let's have a look. Standard, and then filters, minion type, demon. So we got the new one, Prosecutor Malatrix, which probably you wouldn't want. Oh wow, Schlag is a demon. That would be incredibly powerful, even if you were just running 1 Schlag, right? Like, even getting 1 of those back is giga powerful. You've got Brute, we just talked about. These 8 drops, probably less playable. I mean, you can you can also play the 5-mana spell, right? The one that summons a demon from your hand. And now this new spell resurrects the big demon that you pull out. But yeah, I guess you'd want to play it with Schlag, Inquisitor, and Tormentor, right? These are the kind of good big demons, basically. And that's a very powerful spell, right? Like, let's go back and look at this one again. Remove this filter, and then we go back to Murder at Castle Nathria. Go back and look at this card again. So we're summoning one of those, and after a few demons have died, which is going to be hard. I think this infuse is going to be very, very hard to hit. But let's say that you do hit it, you summon 3 of those, and it ends the game. Yeah, I think this is probably, for me, going to be a 1-star card, because I don't believe in the archetype. But maybe I'm just wrong, and of course you could get, imagine any time in the next year and a half, they print some crazy ass demon, it's obviously going to have good synergy with cards that get released later in the year, right? Always run the relic package. Nothing else in DH. Well, you could run the relic package with big demons. You could, right? You could run relic package and then you could run big demons. I think this as a standalone card is good. I think it needs some more support. I think it won't be playable yet. But you just get one nutty big demon, and I think this becomes very, very good. But let's see what people in chat think. What do people in chat think about this? Relic summons demons. Yeah, playable next year, same as me. Oh, the Stalks. The Stalks are also demons. That does make this worse with the Schlag. However, it does mean that the Schlag corrupts this. So let's say you play literally just the Schlag, right? The Schlag is your only minion. You play the Schlag, and then the Schlag dies. You play this. It basically gives you a Schlag back with 2 extra tentacles for 5 mana, which is good, right? Even if the only demon that you play in your entire deck is the Schlag. Oh, but I guess you could resurrect the tentacles, couldn't you? Okay, maybe it doesn't work so well with that. Anyway, I'm going to stick with my rating of 1 star. It's a cool card, but I think it's a big picture card. Right. Anyway, Demon Hunter overall, very good expansion for Demon Hunter, I think. Particularly good support for the aggro hand dump package, which I think was on the cusp of being powerful. So maybe that is now a thing and has become playable. But let's move on to Druid. So this is the first new Druid card. It's a 2-mana 1/3 minion, Attorney at More. Choose one, silence a minion, or give a minion immune this turn. Trying to wrap my head around that. So these are both powerful options, right? So first of all, Iron Beak Owl, right? 2-mana Iron Beak Owl is what this is, but it also can give a minion immune this turn. So giving a minion immune this turn is very powerful, right? Like, is there any other card that you can think of to kind of compare this to? I guess like giving a minion Divine Shield is kind of similar. Allows something big to make a value trade. Like, the problem is that I don't think this really fits in any Druid deck at the moment, right? Like, you'd probably run Starfish over this, even at 4 mana, because Starfish is a more powerful effect. Like, it's a cool card. I just think it's not impactful enough, right? But what do the chatters think? When the going gets tough, you don't want a criminal lawyer, you want a criminal lawyer. It is, dude. It's a Better Call Saul reference. That's good. I appreciate that, because I do love Better Call Saul. It goes in aggro Druid. Does this really go in aggro Druid, though? It might go in Presta Druid. I think it's too good to give it a 1. I think I agree with the guys who are giving it a 2. I think 2 is about right for this card, because it's certainly not going to define the meta. It's strong, but it's not like breaking the game, anything like that. So I think I would give this card a 2-star. Any other thoughts? Card depends on the meta. What minion would Druid even want to give immune for a turn? Like, literally anything that can value trade. Don't want to play this on turn 2 in aggro Druid. You are correct. Yeah, I think giving it a 2 is justified. Anyway, let's have a look at the next card. Now, the next card is very interesting. Due Process. It's a 2-mana nature spell. Yo, P-Bad, thank you so much for the subscription, man. 6 months. Looking good. Due Process. For the rest of the game, players draw an extra card at the start of their turn. Wow, 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 wow. That is phenomenally powerful, right? That is powerful. Just trying to wrap my head around exactly like what deck would even play this card. Like, it's probably not a control card. Could you make maybe like some kind of mill druid? Probably not at the moment, but maybe in the future. Maybe druid finds a way to finds other ways to mill cards. They could just put naturalize back in standard. They could just add it to the core set at the end of the year, you know. It's powerful, but what do you guys in chat think? Presta to draw dragons. Yes, this could be very, very good in Presta Druid, right? Because Presta Druid was basically running Guff just to give it card draw. This is doing the effect of Guff, but for free every turn. I guess it is a mirrored effect, but yeah, this would definitely be good in Presta Druid, 100%. Planted Evidence card, yep. You quite often pick this card off of Planted Evidence. I'm gonna say that I love this card. I think this is a super cool card. Because I love card draw. Having more card draw gives players more options. It makes games feel more fun. And this card is making the game more fun for both players. So I'm a huge fan of this card. And I really hope it is playable. I really, really hope it's playable. I think if it's going to see play, it's going to be either in Aggro Druid or in Presta Druid. But maybe there's going to be a new kind of Mill Druid that comes out at some point in the next year. I would give this card at the moment, I think I would give it a 2-star rating. Because I think the mirrored effect in the current meta is kind of problematic. And effectively it becomes a kind of 2-mana do nothing. However, it may not be a 2-star in future metas. Super cool. What do you guys in chat think? We got some 2 stars, 3 stars. It's for Shellfish Druid. Yeah, I mean, you could put Shellfish Druid in as well. And oh, Shellfish and the location. Yeah, because the Druid location triggers death rattles, right? Trigger for any minions death rattle. Yeah, that is that Mill Druid. You just run Shellfish and Hedge Maze. Dude, that would be crazy. You see, already you guys are coming up with thoughts for this card. Right, so next up is it this card? Is this the last Druid card? I think this is the last Druid card, right? Incarceration. I don't recognize this card. Is this a new card? I think this is a new card. 3 mana spell, choose a minion, it goes dormant for 3 turns. Haven't we seen this card before? You think this is a 5? This card? Like, my instant reaction is 1. Don't you remember, Maiev? Yeah, Maiev. Maeve Shadow Song, right? That was a 4 mana 4/3, which made a minion go dormant for, I believe, 1 turn. So this is like, the minion's going dormant for more turns, but it doesn't have a body. This is a 1, right? This is unplayable. Yeah, that's a 1. You never put that in your deck. And that's all 3 Druid cards. So Druid, I think Druid overall had a bad mini set, right? Like, we gave Eterniate Moor a 2. It's like fringe seeing play in aggro. Due Process, really interesting card, but probably isn't going to be good because of the mirrored effect. And then Incarceration, insta-1. So bad set for Druid. Moving on to Hunter. So Hunter, probably, most people would consider Hunter the best deck in the game at the moment. Let's see what cards Hunter got. Motion Denied. So this is a 2 mana, it's a new secret. So implications for secrets. There's a lot of secret synergy cards. You run secrets in Quest Hunter, and you can also get upgraded secrets off of the Tavish, the hero card. But let's read the text. 2 mana. After your opponent plays 3 cards in a turn, deal 6 damage to the enemy hero. Oh, dude. That's making me a little bit wet. What is this one? Oh, deal 9. Deal 9 if you hit it off of Tavish. Dude. So now whenever you play the Tavish hero, the Hunter hero, it just randomly has a chance to be able to like pyroblast the opponent's face. What the hell, man? Dude. Okay, I mean, let's say that this card is not playable. Okay, let's say that it's, even if this card is not playable and it's a 1, the fact that this monstrosity can now be discovered off of Tavish is absolutely huge. Right? So this is a massive buff to, in my opinion, this is a huge buff to Tavish, right? Because quite often playing the Tavish, the secrets are not that impactful. If you get your opponent low on health, this just ends the game, right? What do people in chat think? I mean, I haven't even talked about the card itself. Like, do you put this in a deck? You probably never put the secret in a deck, right? Like, Quest Hunter got hella nerfed. No one's really playing it anymore. And it, I mean, I don't think you would run secrets in other Hunter decks right now. So this to me by itself is probably a 1-star card, but the fact that it buffs Tavish is huge. But what do you think, chat? 1-star, or am I being unfair? Have a look. 2 mana Pyro, OP for Quest. Yeah, it probably does see play in Quest Hunter actually. Maybe you give this maybe you give it a 2-star. We can give it a 2-star. Like, I don't really like giving cards a 1-star rating. Like, if I can think of any scenario in which it will be played, I think it's fine to give it a 2. So we'll give it a 2. Too easy to play around. This is not easy to play around. I don't know if you guys remember, there have been cards in the past which proc after playing 3 cards. So the most recent one I can remember is the Paladin Secret, right? Do you remember the Paladin Secret that procced a 3/4 with Taunt after the opponent played 3 cards? Do you remember how annoying that card was? Very difficult to play around, right? Playing 3 cards, and like, if you limit yourself to playing 2 cards in a turn, that's going to severely limit a lot of decks in the meta. So I don't think that this is, I don't think this is difficult to play around. Sorry, I think this is difficult to play around. I think this secret will get procced a lot more often than, for example, Explosive Trap. But yeah. Oh, there was Rat Trap as well, right? After your opponent plays 3 cards, summon a 6/6. So this is kind of similar to Rat Trap, I guess. In some situations better, some situations worse. And Rat Trap was played, right? Rat Trap was probably a 2-star card. But yeah. Let's have a look at the next Hunter card. So we've actually got all of the Hunter cards, right? So this is the second one. Shadehound. 5 mana, 6/5. When this attacks, give your other beasts +2/+2. Infuse 3 beasts, gain rush. Wow, okay. So let's talk about the non-infused version first. The non-infused version kind of sucks, right? Because you have to play it as a 5 mana 6/5. It doesn't have any immediate impact, and then you have to have a board of beasts for it to do something. So the non-infused version, yuck. The infused version, what I'm seeing is Arbor up. Can you guys feel me on the Arbor up? Now, what would you say Arbor up was? Sucks for Pet Collector? It's not terrible for Pet Collector, right? It's still a solid lump of stats. I think it's really not terrible for Pet Collector. Oh, you can give it Rush with the location. That is a really good shout, Will Wait. So you don't even need to infuse this. You just have a location, you drop this, you buff it with the location, or you put it off a Pet Collector and you buff it with the location. Wow. Arbor, oh, it is for only beasts. But, like, there are so many Hunter beasts, right? I think this is a good card. Like, the question is, do you put it in your deck? Because Hunter has a lot of other good cards, right? And there are Hunter minions that are not beasts. Like, for example, the Pet Collector, which a lot of the time is pulling this. This is a really, really difficult card to evaluate. I think Tic Tac is right. I think this is probably a 2-star card. But I could easily, like, imagine that they print a card like Unleash the Hounds, or they print a card like, imagine they print some, like, beast tokens for Hunter in the next year and a half. I could easily see this card being upgraded to, like, a 4-star card. Right? So it's somewhere between a 2 and a 3 for me. Rats of Extraordinary Size. Yes, that is a card that exists. And it would have incredible synergy with this. It's a 6-mana spell, though. Gosh, it's expensive. Yeah, I would probably give this a 2-star rating. But it's a cool card. I do like it. And then we got one more Hunter card left. But so this is a legendary card. Defense Attorney Nathanos. 6 mana, 5/4. Battle Cry. Discover a friendly Death Rattle minion that died this game. Trigger and gain its Death Rattle. Oof. So let's have a think. Like, what Death Rattle minions are we discovering? And the first thing that you got to remember is that Discover adds a copy of that card to your hand. So this is a 6 mana 5/4 that adds a Death Rattle minion that's died this game to your hand, and then it triggers the Death Rattle, and then it gains the Death Rattle. So the card that is jumping into my mind as the card that we want to discover is the Sunken Saber, right? Let's say that we do discover a Sunken Saber. What this is doing is it's adding a Sunken Saber, by the way, is the 4 mana 4/3 that when it dies, it pulls a big beast out of the deck, right? So if you have a Sunken Saber that's died this game and you play this card, you get the Sunken Saber in the hand, you pull a big beast out of the deck, and this has the Sunken Saber Death Rattle. So obviously, if a Sunken Saber has died, this card is bananas. This card is insanely broken. It will be played in Hunter with Sunken Saber. If you haven't had a Sunken Saber die, you can still get... I guess the Rat King Death Rattle doesn't really do very much with it. You can still get the Bear Death Rattle, right? The 7-drop. And I mean, the Bear Death Rattle is absolutely fine, right? That would make this a 6 mana 5/4 with a couple of 2/4s, and when this died, it would get... I mean, it would basically turn this into a bear, right? But for 6 mana instead of 5. It's a solid card, isn't it? Right? It also gives you another... Like, I think this card is just doing so much. And, like, Hunter is already running Death Rattle minions. I think this card would fit so easily into the current Hunter. So I would give this a... I think I would give this card a 3-star rating, right? Because I think it's too situational to be a 4-star card. It's not always good, but in the situations when it is good, those situations are not too hard to achieve, right? In the situations when it is good, this card is turbo good. So I think it's a 3 or a 4 out of 5. If we're going out of 5 stars, I'll give it a 4 out of 5. Sure. But it's good, right? This is one of the best cards that we've seen so far. Weapon into Bear on 4, into Pet Collector on 5, into this on 6. Yeah, I mean, obviously that would just end the game, right? I think I would give this a 4-star. This is definitely the best Hunter card. So let's review Hunter as a whole. So Hunter as a whole it got the Nutty card. It got what else did it get? It got Motion Denied, which is a big buff to Tavish, and it got Shadehound, which probably will not see play. So I think this is a solid buff to Hunter, right? All of these cards are super easy to fit into the existing Hunter decks. So this is pretty terrifying to me because I think some of the other cards that we've seen have not been this powerful. So the class which is arguably the strongest getting a pretty huge buff, I think is pretty terrifying. But yeah, let's move on to Mage. What all the cards revealed? Not yet. We're still waiting on 3. But I won't have time to do a set review tomorrow, so we're doing as much as we can today. Let's see. This is a new card. So, Objection. It's a Mage secret. When your opponent plays a minion, counter it. So it's counterspell, but for minions. What do you guys think about that? Oh, the Shaman one's coming in 11 minutes. It'll probably be there by the time we get to Shaman then. Nice. I think this is a 1-star card because it's pretty much the same as Counterspell, right? But and Counterspell doesn't see play. Because it's too expensive for what it does, right? You play a Carney, but you don't play this. Now, this does have implications for Discover, and it has implications for cards like Rune, or Puzzle Box, or Yoga Effects, right? Because I think this is not a terrible roll off of Rune of the Archmage. I think it's a pretty decent Discover. Wyra says Counterspell is worse because you can test with coin. That is true. This is probably better than Counterspell, right? Because you can test with coin and spells tend to be cheaper. I would still put it at 1-star. Personally. I don't think you put this card in your deck. Like, ever. Unless they print a really nutty secret synergy card, I don't think you put this card in your deck. Wait for more Mage cards? Yeah. I mean, let's have a look at what other Mage cards we got. So we got Life Sentence. Dude, what is this? 4-mana spell. Remove a minion from the game? Hello? What does this even do? Like, okay. It also removes from the collection. Dude, can you imagine how much money Blizzard would make if this actually removed the minion from the opponent's collection? Oh my goodness. So you can't discover it. Does it trigger Death Rattle? Like, so let's say the opponent has a let's say it has the bear, on the board, right? You're playing as a hunter, and they've played a mountain bear, 4 mana 5/6 taunt with a death rattle. What happens if you cast this on mountain bear? You puff it. Yeah, it shouldn't trigger the death rattle, right? I would expect this to not trigger the death rattle. But does it also remove the mountain bear from the second mountain bear from my opponent's deck? And does it prevent the opponent from discovering mountain bears in the future? Because this is very unclear. It doesn't remove a second one, so it's not Whirlpool. They can't revive. Hang on, it's confirmed. Doesn't trigger Death Rattle and removed from a res pool. So it doesn't trigger Death Rattle, removed from a res pool, but it doesn't remove a second copy. Oh, this is a Boar Priest counter. That's a good point. It is a Boar Priest counter. I think the devs forgot random in the text. Yeah. So this is an interesting card, right? But what do we give it as a rating? Personally, I think I would give it a 1-star rating. Because I don't think this is a card that you ever put in your deck, right? This is a similar card to Polymorph. It's better than Polymorph, but Polymorph is currently in the game, right? We have a 3-mana Polymorph Jellyfish or something, and that sees 0 play. It's never going to see play. I think this never sees play either. So yeah, you guys agreeing with me, 1 star. Yeah. Okay. So pretty bad set for Mage so far, right? They got a 1-star, 2 1-star cards so far. Let's have a look at the final card. Contract Conjurer, 6 mana 6/6, costs 3. Oh, costs 3 less for each secret you control. I could see this working. Now, remember what we were talking about when we looked at the other Mage secret, the new one that counters a minion? We were talking about the deck needing more payoff, right? This is more payoff. Now there was a similar card to this called what was the name of the card? It was Kirin Tor something, right? There was a 0 mana 5/5, well a 6 mana 5/5, which does still see play in Wild, which got cheaper by 2 for each secret that you had played, I think. Cabal Crystal Runner, that was it. Cabal Crystal Runner. So this is similar to Cabal Crystal Runner. You also do have other secret synergy cards in the game, right? You have Kirin Tor Mage. You have, what else do you have? Let's take a quick look. If we search secret, and then we do standard cards, and then we go to Mage. So we have 5 secrets, obviously. Well, 6 secrets, because we have Vengeful Visage. The problem with the secrets is they're bad, right? Like, you have Objection, you have Explosive Runes Counterspell, and then you have probably a Oasis Ally, but the other 2 are bad, right? So we have Arcanologist that would synergize with these cards. We have Chatty Bartender, which is like, at the end of your turn, if you can control a secret, then it's Consecration, which is obviously very good, right? Yo, 25 Thomas, thank you so much for the PP Prime, buddy. Much love, dude. And then you have Orion. After a friendly secret's revealed, cast a different Mage secret. Honestly, oh, there's neutral cards as well. Yes, you guys are right. What are the neutral cards? So there's Summary the Spy, which is 2 mana Spider Tank in a secret deck. There's Anonymous Informant. Next secret you play costs 0, which is obviously very powerful. especially in a mage deck, right? So that's like better queuing Tor Mage. Honestly, we are getting to the point where Secret Mage could be playable. We are really getting to that point. Do you guys not think? Right? I think it's either now or maybe give it like one more expansion with a couple of good secret cards. I think the deck might be playable. Yeah, so this is what the game wants you to do, right? They want you to play this card, Anonymous Informant, on turn 2, right? Next secret you play costs 0. Then on turn 3, they want you to drop 2 secrets. So for example, you drop Counterspell and Objection or Counterspell Explosive Runes. And then you drop the Conjurer for 0 mana on turn 3. And then they want you to drop the Orion on turn 4 or the Chatty Bartender. You can see how this is going to work, right? Like, when it works, this is going to work. Like, this is going to mega work if it works. My honest thoughts, I think that we are maybe like which supports a lot of the existing mage cards. So this card by itself, I think I'm going to give a 3-star rating because I think this is one of the most solid secret synergy cards that we've had so far. It's just good, right? This is just a good card. I think in the right deck, it's very easy to get down as a 0 mana 6/6, which is obviously very powerful. So I would give it a 3-star. But what do you guys think? What would you give this? I think we're every card in Mage with keyword secret being 1 mana less away from Secret Mage being a thing. That's... Yeah, so you're saying Mage secrets are too expensive. Yeah, you might be right. Card is good, but game plan seems bad. Yeah, I kind of agree with that, Wira. Okay, most of you guys are kind of convinced on secrets. I think 3 is like the average rating. Interesting. I might have to try Secret Mage at some point. But let's remove this tag and get back to our scheduled set review. So Murder at Castle Nathria. So we've been through 4 classes now. 4 classes. So now we're moving on to... Oh, let's just review Mage as a whole. Obviously, Life Sentence, 1 star. But the secret package is starting to look almost playable. Almost playable. But I think Mage got a bad deal compared to Demon Hunter and compared to Hunter. And probably a better deal than Druid. So Paladin. Let's have a look at Paladin. We've got Class Action Lawyer. So this is a 2 mana 2/3 battle cry. If your deck has no neutral cards, set a minion's stats to 1/1. So this is another pure Paladin support card, which I love because I feel like pure Paladin needed more support. How powerful is this card? Is the question. Like, do you insta run this in like every pure Paladin deck? Why would you want one of your minions to become a 1/1? This can change a friendly or an enemy minion's stats to 1/1. So the main way that you're using this is you're using it on an enemy minion, right? Aldor with condition. No, it's better than Aldor because it's cheaper and it's making the thing a 1/1 rather than a 1 attack minion. I think this is a fine card. I'm like, I'm just a little uncertain about whether pure Paladin really needs this, because pure Paladin has a lot of cards that have this effect already, right? It has equality. It has the location card, right, which has free charges and sets a minion stats to 3/3, which I think setting a minion stats to 3/3 is arguably a more useful effect, because you can use it on friendly 1/1s as well as enemies. So I just don't know if this is what Paladin needed. Like, it's a powerful card, but I just don't know if it's what Paladin needed, if you know what I mean. Like, I have a feeling this might be like a 2-star card, maybe even a 1-star card. I think just because of the power level being very strong, I probably would give it a 2-star card. And the reason I'm not giving it a higher rating is because Paladin has so many other cards that are kind of doing similar things. So yeah, I think I would give it 2 stars. Most of you guys are saying 3 stars. Card is outclassed by the 3-mana spell. Oh, yes, that's a good point. What's it called? Righteous Wrath or something? The 3-mana spell that sets minion stats to 1 and then pops the stats into your hand. Is this? Yeah, I think. I mean, there are situations where this card is better, right? Like if you're fighting a really tight tempo battle, then this card is better because it's loading stats onto the board more immediately. But yeah, I think overall, I think this card is slightly worse than Righteous Wrath, the 3-mana spell. So yeah, I think I would give it a 2. You guys saying 2 because pure power is bad. Similar card with different effect and same power level would be insta 4. This one might just be a 3. Yeah. Okay, so it's somewhere between a 2 and a 3. It might see play. Not going to say Paladin. Right, next card. Order in the Court. 2-mana spell. Reorder your deck from highest cost to lowest cost. Draw a card. Wow. Does this remind anyone of another card? Because this, to me, is giving me... this is pretty much exactly what Lawkeeper Polkelt did. Do you guys remember Lawkeeper Polkelt? So Lawkeeper Polkelt was a 4-mana 4/5, so a Yeti, which had a battle cry of ordering your deck from the highest cost to the lowest cost card. Now, I don't know if you guys remember this, but Lawkeeper Polkelt was nerfed. Lawkeeper Polkelt had to be nerfed from a 4-mana to a 5-mana card. Also, can we just get some appreciation in the chat for Big J coming in with a huge raid? Big J, thank you so much for the raid, man. Dude, you're looking very handsome today, Jay. I haven't seen you, but I know you're looking handsome because you always look handsome, buddy. Thank you so much for a raid. For those just joining, we're doing a set review, a mini set review. So we're currently on Paladin, and we're looking at we're looking at what, in my opinion, is one of the best cards of the set. Order in the Court. 2-mana spell, reorder your deck from highest cost to lowest cost, draw a card. So we're comparing this card to Lawkeeper Polkelt, which was a Chillwind Yeti, 4-mana 4/5. And Lawkeeper Polkelt was so good. It had exactly the same effect as this card, and it was so good it had to be nerfed to 5 mana. Now, what's better? Is a Yeti better, or is draw a card better? I would argue that in the current game state, drawing a card is probably better than a Yeti. So, and this is obviously much cheaper. So this card is busted. Like, Lawkeeper Polkelt in its original state was like a 4 or a 5-star card. It transformed the meta. So what can we do with this? Now, this is where I need your help, chat. What can we do with this card? What are we wanting to put on top of our deck? Lady Prester. We could put Lady Prester on top of our deck. We could put Cariel on top. I think I think in reality, what we're probably putting on top is the light ray, right? The 9 mana 5/5, which becomes cheaper because most paladin decks run that card. And the light ray is not a bad top deck, but what comes after the light ray? Dead card until turn 6. Also, you've got to remember that this is just like one card away from being nuts, because at some point in the next 1.5 years, Blizzard could print a card which draws a card and reduces its cost to 0, something like that. This instantly becomes broken. Is there any card like that in the game at the moment? Also, this card has mega wild implications, right? So imagine in wild you just play this. It puts a Shivala on top of your deck. You play this and Holy Wrath. 7 mana, 2-card combo. Oh wait, no, it doesn't work in wild because it draws the card. It doesn't work. But you could still run, you could still run Shivala with Mountain Giants in wild, right? And you would be able to Holy Wrath combo for 20 damage. But yeah. This is, I think this is a 4 or a 5-star card. It might not be a 4 or a 5-star card immediately, but I think this is one of the more powerful cards we've seen so far. And somebody will find a nutty thing to do with this. There's a 9 mana summon minions for both players and Jailer shenanigans. Oh, there is. So yes, you're right. So you could. How would that work though? Because you'd put if you were running this with Jailer, the Jailer would go into your hand, right? So it wouldn't work with the Jailer, but it might work with the 9 mana. I mean, the 9 mana card that summons minions for both players is so greedy, bro. Yeah, I think this card has a lot of potential. I'm gonna give it like 5 stars. Super cool design. Next card, Jury Duty. 3 mana spell. Summon 2 Silver Hand recruits. Give your Silver Hand recruits +1/+1. Huh. Wow. Do I upload the complete card review on YouTube? Yes, I'm going to upload the complete card review on YouTube. So if you guys have missed a bit, then you can watch the whole thing back later. And follow and subscribe to my YouTube, by the way, because it's nuts. So let's just think about this card by itself. You play this card on turn 3, and you get 2/2/2 recruits, right? So that's landscaping. Like, that's fine. That's 4/4 of stats for 3 mana. Let's say that you already had a recruit on the board, because there's lots of Paladin cards that put recruits in play. This is now a Power of the Wild plus a landscaping, right? And you can run 2 copies of this. So if your opponent doesn't deal with the first wave of boys, the first wave of dudes, there's going to be another wave of dudes which are going to be smacking even harder. Buffet Biggin, yeah, good synergy with Buffet Biggin. There's also a 4 mana Paladin spell that summons 5 1/1 recruits, so good synergy with that. Oh, the other card that has great synergy with this, you know the 3 mana 3/1 minion that draws a spell that costs 3 or less, and then it costs 0 this turn. So imagine that you run this as the only spell in your deck, right? The only spell that costs like 3 or less mana. When you can tutor this out with the 3 mana 3/1, and it costs 0. So that's like your 3 mana 3/1 becomes draw a card, 7/5 of stats for 3 mana. That's strong, right? That's really, really strong. And it also would buff up any recruits you already had in play. Yeah, you'd have to cut Righteous Defense, which I think you could do, right? If you wanted to make a strictly aggro dude based deck, you would probably cut Righteous Defense for this. I think this is a solid card. Like, it's one of the better dude cards we've had for sure. I would probably give this a 2 or a 3 star because Dude Paladin sucks, but it's always just one dude card away from being nuts, right? It's always just one dude card away. You guys give this a 3? Yeah, I can get down for 3. I think it's a cool card. And I really want Dude Paladin to be good. I think Dude Paladin is like such a cool vibe. I really want this deck to be good. So let's give it a 3. Level up. Yeah, it's kind of like a small level up, isn't it? It's also, I just want to say, this also might be good in Wild, right? Wild has a lot more dude synergy. So this card may end up being super, super good in Wild. But I don't know much about Wild. Have we got the last Paladin card? Or have we gone through them all already? Oh, we've gone through all the Paladin cards. So we had Class Action Lawyer, Order in the Court, and Jury Duty. So overall, I think these are good Paladin cards, right? Like, I think Paladin got some reasonable cards, particularly Order in the Court, massive potential, very, very powerful effect. Jury Duty, okay. Class Action Lawyer, meh, probably not that good. Okay, I mean, I guess just getting this card though is exciting for Paladin because this kind of card is what Paladin needed, right? This to me, Order in the Court is like a Paladin win condition, which Paladin didn't have before. So Paladin now has a win condition card. And somebody at some point in the next year and a half will find something broken to do with this. Trust me, somebody will find it, okay? Mark my words. Good set for Pala. Priest. So, have we got all the priest cards? We do have all the priest cards. Theft Accusation. 1 mana, shadow spell, choose a minion, destroy it after you play a card copied from the opponent. So, what this card is doing is pretty much the same thing as the Light It Burns, right? This card here. Let's just compare these two cards, right? Now, the Light It Burns is a good card. This is a 3-star card. And if the Light It Burns was not in the game, this card might be playable in Burgle Priest. But in my opinion, this is far, far, far too situational. You compare it to the Light It Burns, you are always running this card, right? Like, this is just a strictly better card than this. It's such a situational effect. Like, obviously it's a powerful card, but this is the same power level pretty much, and absolutely no requirements to activate it. It's a shadow spell. Yeah, I think this is a 1-star card for me, and I saw a lot of ones in the chat as well. So I think you guys are on board with me. I think this is getting a 1-star. The Shaman card's out. Yeah, we're gonna get to Shaman soon. Don't worry, dude. We're going through in order. Yeah, 1-star on the first Priest card though. Priest haters will be delighted. Now, I don't have much higher hopes for this next one. Clear Conscience, a 3-mana holy spell. Give a friendly minion +2/+3, and only you can target this with spells and hero powers. Only you. Any unicorn fans in the chat? I can love unicorns. Now, I might love unicorns, but I don't like this card. This card sucks. Can I get some amens? The effect, I think, is situational, and the power level is low. Oh, Nargling? Okay, you guys are right. This is very, very, very good if you get it off of a Nargaling, right? Because you cast it for 1 mana. So yes, this is going to be a buff to Priest, but because of School Teacher, right? But I don't think you put this card in any Priest deck. I just don't think the power level is high enough. So personally, I'm giving this a 1-star rating. But I think it's one of those cards that is you guys are right, big buff to School Teacher. Didn't people say the same thing about more arms? Extra arms. So extra arms, wasn't that the 3 mana? Yeah, well, extra arms was the 3 mana +2/+2, and then it added more arms, which gave another +2/+2. But that card, you have to remember that card was unplayable, and they buffed it to 2 mana, and that was when it became busted, right? If this card cost 2 mana, I'd be having a different conversation with you. But it costs 3 mana, which I think is too expensive. I think this is unplayable at 3 mana. So we're going to give that one a 1 as well. What about the last Priest card? The last Priest card is this one. 4 mana 2/6, Incriminating Psychic. So it's a dragon. So this has synergy with Draconid Operative. This has synergy with... Are there any other Priest Dragon synergy cards? Has synergy with like Kazakhstan. You could put this in a Kazakhstan deck. 4 mana 2/6 Taunt. Death Rattle. Copy a random card from your opponent's hand. So let's think about the stat line first of all. 4 mana 2/6 Taunt, I think is kind of a meh. It's a meh stat line, right? I mean, you can bless it and then it becomes pretty good. You can buff it with Pelagos and then it becomes pretty good. But you're probably not running this in those kind of decks. You're probably running this in Burgle Priest, right? Would you run this card in Burgle Priest? How does this card compare to, say, Draconid Operative? I think it's roughly on par with Draconid Operative. You don't get to choose the card that you copy. However, it does come from the opponent's hand. So that gives you information about the opponent's hand, which is relevant, right? You think it's better than Operative because it's cheaper? Yeah, but it has less attack. You probably would run both. I do think that this card probably would see play in Burgle Priest. And I think it would be a fringe card. It wouldn't be a card which like made the archetype. So I think this is like a 2-star card. I think I would give this 2 stars. But what do you guys think? What would you rate this card? Hero card synergy? Oh, you're right. It does. Yes, it does have synergy with the hero card. That's a really good point. And it has synergy. Oh, it has synergy with the 3 mana card as well, the amulet, right? You know the amulet that you shuffle into the deck and it summons back death rattles? This would be actually quite a good target for the amulet, wouldn't it? Yeah, there's definitely Raise Dead. That card's not in standard anymore, dude. But yeah, there's definitely situations where you'd play this. I think I'm going to stick to my original rating as a 2-star card, but it's maybe more of a 2.5 to 3. Like, it's a cool card. I like it. Oh, it has quest synergy as well. Dude, every card in the game has quest synergy, Wyra, unless it costs 0 or 9 or 10 mana. But nice try, buddy. So that's all the priest cards. So I think most of the chatters will be delighted to know that priest has had a bad set, right? Theft Accusation, terrible card. Clear Conscience, terrible card. Incriminating Psychic is like average. So yeah, bad set for priest. Let's move on to rogue. So we've had all the rogue cards as well. Nice. What's the first one? Murder Accusation. So this is a 2 mana spell. Choose a minion, destroy it after another enemy minion dies. One. It's a 1. Like, oh my goodness. This is even worse than the priest card before it, right? We don't need to discuss this anymore. That's a 1. Next one. Perjury. It's a secret. Can we get some L's in the chat for Rogue? So the first card was an insta 1, and the second card is a secret. Feels bad, man. When your turn starts, discover and cast a secret from another class. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh, that's not good, is it? That is not good. It's just so slow. Like, it doesn't do anything when you play it. And you're not playing Rogue Secrets anyway. Yeah, it's a 1. Let's move on. So there's one more Rogue card. Is it going to be good? Where is it? Oh, here it is. Scribbling Stenographer. 6 mana, 4/4 with Rush. Costs 1 less for each card you've played this turn. So this is like, let's say that this is another null. But is it another null? Like, you have to play a lot of cards to get this down to 0, right? Would you ever play this card in the Combo Wombo Rogue? Like, I know, guys. I know I'm not stupid. I know this card is worse than null, but let's say that we put this in a deck that can get it down to 0 mana, like Edwin Rogue, like Edwin Draka Rogue, whatever you want to call it. Does this become playable? Messes up Shroud. Yes, it does mess up Shroud. You're correct. Yeah. I think this card is a 1-star at the moment, but you have to remember that Null is only going to be in the game for another, what, like 6 months? It doesn't necessarily screw the Edwin. Like, if you play enough cards off the Edwin, this can actually be a 0 mana card off the Edwin, right? But I think this card is a 1-star. It might be a 2-star card if, I don't know, at some point in the future, but I think for now it's a 1-star card. Yeah. So yeah. Jay Alexander, if you're still in the chat, dude, my condolences. Rogue has had probably the worst mini set out of all of the classes we've reviewed so far. Can we get some L's in the chat for Jay Alex? He's still here. I'm so sorry, dude. Jay's mad? Yeah, I'd be mad too if I only played Rogue. These cards are Giga Garbonzo. Right, Shaman. So we need to refresh because there's a new Shaman card that came out. So let's refresh. Totemic Evidence. 1 mana spell, choose a basic totem and summon it. Infuse 3 totems, summon all 4 instead. Huh. So what do we think about that? Like, do I really want to be spending my mana to summon 3 totems? It has some implications, right? So, can we at least consider this card with there's a totem, there's a 2 mana totem which synergizes really well with the infused version of this, right? What was it called? It was the I can't remember what it is, but there's a 2 mana. Let's look. Totem. Come on. It's this one, Anchored Totem. After you summon a 1-cost minion, give it +2/+1. So if you can somehow get 3 tokens in play, 3 totems, and you can infuse that spell, then it has Anchored Totem plus that spell actually summons like a shit ton of stats onto the board. That's summoning like 4 2/3 totems for 1 mana. Yeah, that's sad, right? That's sad. It's it's a 1. It's a 1, right? Can anybody does anybody have any different opinions? Can anyone think of something busted to do with this shitty card? It's a 0. And then Priest cleans the scene. Yeah, dude. Oh, poor Shaman getting totem cards. Yeah, it's a 1. Next. This is the new card, right? They released this card 30 minutes ago. Oh, wait. Chisel auto-infuses it. Where's Chisel? Hang on. Carving Chisel. After your hero attacks, summon a random basic totem. It doesn't auto-infuse it! It doesn't. But totems have to die, alright? You have to swing with this 3 times, and then the 3 totems have to die. It's hard for totems to die because they have 0 attack, right? Your opponent has to trade into them. Yeah, it's not happening. Framester. 3 mana 3/3. Battle Cry. Shuffle 3 framed cards into the opponent's deck. When drawn, they overload for 2. Huh. So what? Oh, wow. It is good artwork, though, isn't it? I do like the artwork. So let's think about the implications. This is, this is an anti-Highlander deck, which... Think about this, okay? They put Reno in Standard for a reason. I am 90% sure that in the next expansion, we are going to see some Highlander cards. Anti-pure Paladin. Yeah, anti-pure Paladin. I think this is it's obviously got some implication, right? And it's a cool design, but I think it's too weak to see play. Is it not anti-pure? Oh, did the pure cards say no neutrals, so you can have cards from other classes? Oh, yeah, you're right. Okay. But yeah, I think this is a 2-star card. Like, I think it's very close to being a 1-star card, but just because the effect is cool and unique, I'm going to give it a 2-star. And I think most people in chat are saying 1 or 2 as well, right? So what's the last one? This one, right, is new. Wow, that's a big boy. Torghast Custodian. 8 mana, 6/10, battle cry. For each enemy minion, randomly gain Rush, Divine Shield, or Wind Fury. Huh. That looks like a 1. Because it costs 8 mana. So first of all, it costs 8 mana. Second of all, my opponent has to have 3 minions for it to be good. Yo, Lammy series. Looking good tonight, man. Thank you so much for a raid, buddy. Yeah. This card is not it, right? It's a 1-star. It's too expensive. Can anyone see... this card's insane with Bolner. Is it? Why? What, my Bolner gets Rush, Divine Shield, or and Wind Fury? Like, why do I want that on a 1/4? It sucks, right? It's not good with Bolner. The 3/3 is the good card with Bolner. Oh yeah, the 3/3 might be good. It buffs Shaman in Arena. Yeah, this is a good Arena card. Good target for criminal lineup. Great, another card I don't want to play in my deck. Yeah, this is 1. Okay, nice. Nobody's convinced me. So overall, Shaman got a really, really bad set. This might be even worse than the... okay, nothing can be as bad as the Rogue cards, but this is as close as we've got so far, right? I think this Shaman has got to be like the second worst we've viewed after Rogue. Disappointing. Okay, moving on to Warlock. Arson Accusation. Do you guys know what arson is? Yeah. Somebody arson around. Right, that's a joke from Wallace and Gromit, by the way. 2 mana fire spell. Choose a minion, destroy it after your hero takes damage. So this is, I mean, it's easy for Warlock to take damage, right? You can life tap. So it's like 2 mana, destroy a minion. And this follows over to the next turn, right? So let's say you play it on turn 2 and then you tap on turn 3, the minion dies. Does it sound like a hoovering in the background? Yeah, that's my washing machine. It's almost done. The cycle's pretty much finished. Don't worry. I think this is bad. Like, what deck am I putting this in? Because removing singular minions is just not that powerful an effect, right? Like, what decks actually run spells that remove a single minion? The only one I can think of is Priest, because it has one that does it for 1 mana, right? Which is really good tempo. And Warrior has Shield Slam, which is also 1 mana. But I think this is unplayable. Quest Warlock? No, dude, no. Problem with Control Warlock is it doesn't have single removal support. Well, yeah, single removal is just you need to have like an incredible win condition for single target removal to be viable, right? Because single target removal is either going 1 for 1 with one of your opponent's good card, opponents, right? That's like best case scenario. This goes 1-for-1 with your opponent's like nutty singular minion. But most of the time in current Hearthstone, this card is either unplayable in your hand or it's going like one for a half because you're playing it on like some half of a card that your opponent's played, which is like summon, your opponent summoned like a couple of things with one card or something like that. I don't know. I think this is bad. I think this is a 1-star card. There were a lot of people who said 4-star for this, but I think this will not see play. Doesn't the minion die when it attacks? Yes, but there's literally a 1-mana Paladin secret that does that, right? Called Judgment of Justice, and that sees 0 play. So Paladin has a secret which does like the same thing as this, or a similar thing to this, and it sees no play. This is giga unplayable. This is a 1. Right, next card. Imp Oster. So I'm guessing this is an imp, right? This is an imp. 2-mana 1/1. Battle cry, choose a friendly imp, transform into a copy of it. Huh. So, imp synergy. What do we want to copy? Like, we could become a 2-mana imp gang boss. We could become a 2-mana 3/3. There's a 4/1 that a 3-mana 4/1 imp that has Death Rattle, summon a 4/1. Oh, buffed imp as well. Yeah, so you could transform this into an imp that you've already buffed up. This is a fine card, right? Like, do you run this in Imp Warlock? Maybe. Wyra says handlock. Not sure about that. I think this is a fringe playable card in Zoo Warlock. Right? Because you have to remember that if you get off the board, this card is going to be pretty much unplayable. But if you're on the board, I think this can help you snowball. And it has Imp Synergy. So I think this is like a 2-star card. I would give this... I think you sometimes run it in Imp Zoo Warlock, but not all the time. Because it's one of those win more cards, right? It's good when you're already ahead, but if you're behind and you have to drop this on turn 2, you feel terrible about your life. So I think this is a 2-star card. Maybe a 1-star, but I tried to be generous during set reviews. Wait, did Warlock get 4 cards? What's going on here? What's this? There's 2 more cards I've never seen before. There's Herbaeus Corpses and there's Shadowborn. Oh, Shadowborn I have seen before. So, yeah, it's this one, right? This is the new one. Herbaeus Corpses. 3-mana shadow spell. Discover a friendly minion to resurrect and give it rush. It dies at the end of the turn. So you can use this on an enemy minion, right? Hang on, if you use this on an enemy minion, isn't this just 3-mana destroy a minion? Because doesn't it? Oh no, it literally says just. Okay, let me try reading this card again. I completely misunderstood this card. Discover a friendly minion to resurrect and give it rush. Right, so you discover... Okay, fine. So minion dies, then you discover it, resurrect it, give it rush, dies at the end of the turn. Okay, so what do we want to... So what do we want to resurrect and give rush and then to die at the end of the turn? Like, what are we wanting to resurrect with this? Because someone's going to have to help me here. 4 for 3 mana? Are you serious? Oh, hang on. This is a shadow spell. So we can combo this with Tamsin. And we can combo this with... what's the 5 mana card, right? The 5 mana card that summons 2/1s that gain a death rattle of your previous shadow spell. Can we make Boar Priest happen? I don't think so. I really don't think so. What else? Shellfish? Colossal? Not the Colossal, I don't think. Well, the Colossal wouldn't be terrible, but it's late in the game. Owl? Yeah, but you have to actually play an owl and it has to be dead, right? Bomb? What, you're going to resurrect a 2 mana 0/2 and give it rush? Rush on a 2 mana 0/2, lol. Korak? Yeah, that'll be interesting. I mean, this is an interesting card, right? Like, I think my gut feeling is that this is bad, but it's not going to take much for this to be good, right? Like, you just need one nutty death rattle, and then this could be like a good card, right? Soul Jailer. Is that that's the 6-drop? So you can get a 3 mana Soul Jailer, which dies at the end of a turn. Probably not playable still. I think this is a 1 or a 2-star card. Also, what is the text on this? Whoops, typo. Habeas Corpses. What's it supposed to be? I think I don't get this reference. Does anyone get this? Like, I think it's a 1 or a 2-star. Oh, it's Habeas Corpus. Okay, fine. I don't know what Habeas Corpus means. The reference is lost on me. Right, we got one more. Oh, wait, no, is that everything? That was everything, right? That was all the Warlock cards. So Warlock got a insta 1-star, a generous 2-star, and then a 1/2-star. So Warlock also had a shitty set, right? Yeah, this is a bad set for Warlock, I think. Moving on. Warrior. This is new, right? Call to the stand. Your opponent summons a random minion from their hand. Can I get some dirty rats in the chat? So, Dirty Rat is a favorite card for the Wild community. Wild players love Dirty Rat. And this is basically doing what Dirty Rat did, but it's costing 1 instead of 2, and you don't get the 2/6 body. So this is like in my opinion, I think this is probably slightly worse than Dirty Rat. But only very slightly. Now, I was thinking of making a meme with this card. And the meme I was going to make, you know the Star Wars meme? Actually, let me see if I can find it. Star Wars Padme meme. This one, right? I was going to make this meme. And I was going to put on Padme's voice over here. I pulled my opponent's Nathria on turn 1. And then she was going to say down here, I pulled my opponent's Nathria on turn 1. Because that's what this card's going to be, right? Somebody is going to rip this card on turn 1. They're going to pull Nathria out of the opponent's hand. And they're going to die. Because it's going to be a 10-10 on the board on turn 1. Wrong meme? Was it the wrong meme? It was the right one, dude. It was the right one. Anyway. I don't think we can give a Dirty Rat style card 1 star, right? Like, I think this card is going to be situational. I think if Warrior was actually a good deck with an existing win condition, I think this would be a very good card. Because it's disruption, right? So I think I would give this probably a 3-star rating. I don't think this card will see any play in the current metagame. However, if Warrior becomes good, or if OTK becomes good at any point in the next year and a half, I think this will be a very, very powerful tool. And so I think you can't look at Dirty Rat and then look at this card and give this card a 1 star. I think it has to be a 3-star card. Even if it won't see play straight away. But what do you guys in the chat think? Let's have a look and see what people are saying. Just play it before you want to brawl. Yeah, play it before you want to brawl. That's a really good application of this card. Tic Tac says 2. 3-star. Yeah. I think 3 stars about right. Somewhere between 2 and 3. But Warrior's going to need more than that to save it. What else has Warrior got? This is a new one, right? Suspicious Pirate. It's a spider tank, 3 mana, 3/4, and it's a pirate, so synergy with a quest. Battlecry, discover a weapon. If your opponent guesses your choice, they get a copy. Wait, is this not a new card? Oh. Okay. I've never seen it before. What the hell? Okay, let's just forget that happened. Weapons expert. Why is Warrior so bad? The cards are so bad. I've never seen them before. Weapons expert, 3 mana, 3/2. Battlecry. If you have a weapon equipped, give it +1/+1. Otherwise, draw a weapon. Wow. Well, that's quite good, right? So, let's say that our weapon is Outrider's Axe. This is like Captain Greenskin. A little bit cheaper, a little bit less statty, Captain Greenskin. But if we don't have a weapon equipped, then we draw our Outrider's Axe. You can also use this to tutor out Ramonia, the 7 mana weapon. So yeah, it's like a better Captain Greenskin, right? Now, what rating would we give Captain Greenskin? Oh, we can draw the infused weapon as well. Yeah, the infused weapon's pretty good. Like, I would give Captain Greenskin as a card, I would probably have given it like 2 or 3 star. Because it was fringe playable, right? Let's be honest. Captain Greenskin was fringe playable. Now, this card I think is better than Captain Greenskin, but I think it's barely better than Captain Greenskin. So I think if I was being very, very generous, I would give this card a 3-star rating. For what deck? Like, literally any deck that has a good weapon. This is not a 5-star card. This, I think, I think this is a 3-star card. I think it's solid, right? I think it's just, if Warrior gets a really busted weapon, like, and Warrior does have busted weapons, right? Like, for example, Ramonia is a pretty strong weapon. The Imbued Axe is extremely strong. So this, I think this card has very, very good synergy with Imbued Axe, right? So I think this is a solid, I think it's a 3-star card. I think it's a 3, which is good, right? This is the first card that we've given more than a 2 in like 4 classes. So, and it's nice that Warrior gets a playable card, because Warrior needs a heck of a lot of love, for sure. You can't draw, why can't you draw Ramonia? Oh, you can't, you're right, because it's yeah, because it's a minion. Yeah, you're right. You can't tutor Ramonia. But you can tutor the Imbued Axe, which I think you probably want to tutor the Imbued Axe or the Outrider's Axe, right? Those are like the good warrior weapons. Anyway. Moorsworn Bailiff. 5 mana 4/4. Taunt. Battle Cry. If you have 4 or more armor, gain +4/+4. So that's pretty easy to get 4 or more armor. But do I want to play a 5 mana 8/8 with Taunt? Like, even if I could get 4 armor, would I play that in my deck? Nah. Nah. It's a 1, right? It's a 1. Right. Well. Warrior got 1 playable card and the rest... I mean, I don't know. We said this was a 2, didn't we? 2 or 3. I don't think Warrior is going to be seeing any more play than it sees right now. Sag. So that's all of the... We've gone through every single class card, right? They were all released. So if we go back up to the top, the only cards that are not yet released are 3 neutral cards. So what neutral cards have we got to go over? Because there should be 2 neutral cards that that are new that we haven't seen yet, right? And I think it's Sylvanas and Jailer, if I'm not mistaken. I think the only cards that have been released that we haven't been over are Sylvanas and Jailer. So Sylvanas is a 6 mana 5/5. Battlecry, destroy an enemy minion. Infuse, take control of it instead. So this, I've seen some interesting takes on this card. Oh, all the cards are revealed. Okay. All the cards are revealed. Nice. So we'll go through all of them, but we'll look at Sylvanas first. Okay. Yeah, so Sylvanas was a powerful card, and I think it was one of the I think it was a very fondly remembered legendary minion when it was in the game, right? And it used to be this, but the Death Rattle was take control of an enemy minion, and it didn't have an infused condition, right? So how does this compare with the original Sylvanas? This is like... I think 6 mana 5/5 Battlecry, destroy an enemy minion is like, that's okay. Like, that's a pretty decent effect. I would maybe run that in my deck if it was like 5 mana. However, if you can infuse this is very, very good, right? I think the you need 7 minions to die, so that's a lot of minions. But that's a very strong effect, a 5/5 body with a mind control. So you're thinking of like basically this is like better than Najak Hexen. Now Najak Hexen I would probably say is like a 3-star card, and this is neutral. So if you can manage to infuse it by 7, I think this is very, very strong. Druid card? Yeah, I mean, in Druid, this seems insane, right? Because it should be easy to infuse it. Like, you just need to cast 1 scale and it's infused as Druid. Man has to go in Shaman. Yeah, I mean, you can copy the battle cry with Makor as well, right? So yeah, I think it's a good card. I would probably give this a 3-star. But what do you guys think? Would you give this a 3-star? Would you give it more? What do you guys think? You're at 4? Yeah, somewhere between a 3 and a 4. the Infuse 7, I think that's difficult, right? That's a very, very high amount of Infuse, right? Like, if you top deck this later in the game, it's going to be a couple of turns before you get this effect. So I think I'm going to stick with 3. I think it's strong, and I think it's playable, but I don't think it's like meta defining or meta warping, anything like that. I think 3 is a fair rating, 3-star. But it's a nice card, right? 3-star rating is like the perfect rating on a card. So it's really nice to see this effect back in the game. So I think they did a great job on this card for sure. Right, Daddy J, the Jailer, 10 mana, 10/10. Battle cry: destroy your deck. Lol. For the rest of the game, your minions are immune. What do we think, dudes? What do you think? I think, personally, I think this is a 1. Now, allow me to explain myself. Let's look at other 10 drops that have seen play in the past. Alright? Outside of Druid, there are not many. Onyxia has seen Fringe play in Warrior and obviously play in Druid. Nathria has seen some play. Yogg has seen play as a 10 drop. Are there any other 10 drops that have seen play? I can't really think of any apart from Yogg, Onyxia, and Nathria. Neptulon, in Druid, right? In Druid, Neptulon sees play because Druid can do crazy stuff. Yashaj, okay, Yashaj, yeah, Mechafoon. Yeah, okay, so there are some 10 drops. Now, what all of those 10 drops have in common is immediate impact. The Jailer does not have immediate impact, right? The effect is powerful, yes. But I think this card is unplayable because you have to take a turn off to play this, right? And imagine you draw this near the start of a game. Now, are there any situations where this card does become playable? Like, for example, Alignment Druid. Could this deck be playable? Like, let's say that you cast Alignment, and then you make a board, and then you drop this after. Is it playable then? Because there are some classes that are not going to be able to interact with this. However, I feel like if you're at that point with Alignment Druid, you've probably won the game anyway, right? Like, does this really make you win the game any more than like any of the other 10 drops would after Alignment? Doesn't beat Silent yet, so you can silence the card. Well, I mean, you can silence it with Starfish. You can't target it with Silence because you can't target immune minions. And obviously, like, destroy all minions like Brawl and Twisting Never. It doesn't play around those cards. What happens if you Whirlpool immune minions? They die. So this doesn't play around Whirlpool either. There is some synergy with Warlock. So what you can do with Warlock is that you can play the... there's a 5-mana card called Niru Fireblade, which, if your deck is empty, you summon a portal, which summons a board full of 3/2 imps at the end of your turn. So, yes, this does have some synergy with that card. That is true. However, it still costs 10 mana, so I highly doubt it's going to be playable in Warlock. Highly doubt it. Do they get the immune back? Oh. That's a good point, actually. I would assume that this is like an aura effect. So, yeah, if you... Let's say that you silence the whole board with Starfish. It probably doesn't work on this, right? So, yes, the Jailer would die to Whirlpool, but actually Starfish probably doesn't work on it. Yeah. It's a good point. But yeah, I think this is a 1-star card. I think it's too expensive, and I think it doesn't have immediate impact. So I think this is 1-star. I'd be very, very surprised if anyone found a deck where Jailer was playable. It might be different in Wild, because you can do some broken stuff in Wild. You can probably make this cost 1 or 0, but standard it's a 1. Right, let's go back and have a look. So there should be 3 more cards that we haven't seen yet. This one. This is a new one. Soul Seeker. 5 mana 3/3 Battle Cry. Swap this with a random minion from your opponent's deck. What do you guys think about this? This is a very interesting effect, right? Very interesting. So let's think about some outcomes. The outcome that everybody wants is they play this and they have a 10 mana 10/10 with lifesteal for 5 mana, and their opponent doesn't have a Nathria anymore, right? That's the outcome that you want. But what happens a lot of the time is you play this and maybe you've got maybe there's a Feotar on the board, a 3/3. Maybe there's a Banana Man, a 2/2. Maybe there's a 1/1. Maybe you hit like a Trog, or you hit the Priest card that like copies a card from your opponent's deck, and you get a 5 mana 1/1. Maybe you get a Jerry. Maybe you get a 5 mana 2/1, you know? So this is a very, very highly variable effect, right? And what you've also got to remember is that this then puts the card back into your opponent's deck. So at some point, they may then top deck this bad card, and they may then play it, and they may low roll or high roll with it, right? So this card is doing a lot of stuff. It's giving your opponent a new card to top deck, and the stat line is extremely variable. Honestly, I hate cards like this. It's way, way, way too high variance for my liking, and I am glad that this card is a 1-star. Right? I think the cost and the variance make this card pretty much unplayable. Evolve nerf? Yeah, you'd be very sad if you evolved into this card, wouldn't you? Yep. Does Meatman know chat's frozen on screen? I think it just updates slowly, doesn't it? Just check. Yeah, it's just it's updating slowly. Right. So 1-star on that one. Let's have a look. What other cards have we got? There's 2 more we're looking for. Is this new? This is new, right? 3 mana 2/5. Secrets can't be revealed. Huh. Can I get some 1s in the chat? Because we're never playing that, right? 0. Secret Mage might be a thing. Yeah, I was thinking that as well, Luna. I think Secret Mage might be okay, but you still never, ever, ever run this card in your deck, right? Can we please be honest? You never put this card in your deck. Like, even as a tech card, this is garbo. Like, I'm not going to say anything more about that card. And then there's this one. This is the final card of the set review. Afterlife Attendant, Spider Tank, 3 mana 3/4. Your infuse cards also infuse while in your deck. Huh. So, are there decks that run a lot of infuse cards? I mean, this might give you like 1 or 2 extra points on your Nathria. It might like, I mean, if you run enough infuse cards, this can be maybe meaningful. But you also have to be ahead on board, right? Because you have to play this and then maybe like trade a few things in, and like at the end of the day, it's kind of, it looks kind of meh, right? Shaman and Hunter, yeah. Like, I don't think I'm ever putting this card in my deck, am I? So I would give this maybe a 1-star rating. Yeah, it has to be alive. It's not like you don't play this and then the effect is active for the rest of the game, lol. I mean, that would be very broken. If this was Battle Cry, your infused cards also infuse while in your deck for the rest of the game, then that would be broken. You'd put that in your deck. But as it is now, I think you don't run it. I think it's like a 1-star card. Anyway, that's the end of the set review. We only took a couple of hours because it was 35 cards to go through rather than like 135. That was a nice set review, right? Let's just go back very quickly and summarize which classes got a good deal and which classes got a bad deal. Demon Hunter, I think, comparatively got a pretty good deal. They got 2 cards which I think we'll see play. This card, I think, is a better Akani. And then this card is very good in aggro Demon Hunter if aggro Demon Hunter becomes playable. So Demon Hunter got a fine set. Druid, I think, had a pretty bad set. The only interesting Druid card was Due Process. And I think that's not playable at the moment. Maybe at some point in the future. There was an interesting thing that someone in the chat pointed out about Hedge Maze and synergizing with Shellfish. Maybe you could make Mill Druid with Due Process, but probably not. I think Druid overall got a bad set. Hunter, I think, got a very good set. So we had Motion Denied, which was a significant buff to the Hunter Hero, because the Hunter Hero is now having a chance to just do a Pyroblast to the enemy hero, which is kind of revolting. And then we had Defense Attorney Nathanos, which is competing for the best card of the set. And Hunter was already a pretty strong class, so not really super happy that Hunter is probably the class that have the best cards. Mage got some decent secret synergy cards. We got the Counter a Minion secret, and we got the 0 mana 6/6. This one. If secrets are playable, which they probably won't be, but if they are, then I think these, the Mage might have had a decent set. Paladin had one interesting card, Order in the Court, which is just a 2 mana Lawkeeper Polkelt. I think this, I can't think of any applications, and no one in the chat could think of any crazy applications for this in Standard at the moment. But Lawkeeper Polkelt was a very powerful card. I'm sure that this will be pretty good at some point in the future. The rest of the Paladin cards were not that great, right? Like Jury Duty was a solid buff to Dude Paladin, but I don't think Dude Paladin will be playable. Priest had a terrible set. It had one like 2 or 3 star card, which was this dragon, which has some synergy with Burgle Priest. Rogue had 3 insta-1 cards. Terrible set for Rogue. None of those cards will see any play. Shaman was a similar situation. None of those Shaman cards I think will see any play whatsoever. Warlock, I think, had a similar situation again. I don't think any of the new Warlock cards will see play. Warrior had Weapons Expert, which is a kind of solid 3-star card, but it's not enough to save a class. The class is still going to be probably the worst class in the game. It also got the Dirty Rat effect, which isn't going to be good because Warrior doesn't have a win condition. And then the neutral cards, the only neutral card that we were really excited about was Sylvanas, right? Which is a nice card to have back in the game. There we go. Overall, when cards were being released, I was thinking this is a bad set. And I think compared to other mini sets, I would stand by that opinion. I think comparing this to previous mini sets, I think this mini set is a pretty bad mini set. If you're not keen on spending your money on runestones, then you can relax. You can probably get away with not investing in runestones for another couple of months. You probably won't be too disadvantaged if you don't own any of these cards. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed my set review.